You know that feeling when you step onto a cruise ship and assume you're entering one of the safest vacations on Earth? I used to think that too, until I spent more than 15 years working behind the scenes in the cruise industry. And what I learned will absolutely change how you prepare for your next sailing. Today, we're breaking down the 8 biggest cruise security risks that even experienced cruisers overlook. And I promise, number 1 will completely change how you sail. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot them and how to protect yourself before anything goes wrong. Before we dive in, subscribe to Cruise Navigator for the best senior cruise tips and hidden travel hacks that make every voyage smoother and safer. Let's jump right into our countdown, starting with security risk number 8. Security risk number 8, cabin door surveillance gaps. Here's something that'll shock you. Your cabin door isn't as secure as you think. Most cruise ships have surveillance cameras in hallways, but there are significant blind spots right outside many cabin doors. These gaps in coverage create perfect opportunities for theft, especially during port days when most passengers are off the ship. Cruise lines don't advertise this because it would create panic about cabin security. They prefer passengers feel completely safe, even if that means overlooking some vulnerabilities. The crew knows about these blind spots, but they're trained to focus on positive guest experiences rather than highlight security concerns. Here's your action plan. Always use the deadbolt and security latch on your cabin door, even during the day. When leaving your cabin, take a quick look down the hallway to see if anyone is lingering without purpose. If you notice someone hanging around your cabin area repeatedly, report it to security immediately. This simple awareness can save you from losing valuables worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. I knew a passenger who lost her entire jewelry collection because she assumed the hallway cameras would deter thieves. Don't make that rookie cruise mistake. But here's what most people don't realize about the next security risk on our list. Security risk number 7, public Wi-Fi vulnerability. Every time you connect to the ship's public Wi-Fi network, you're potentially exposing your personal information to cybercriminals. Cruise ship Wi-Fi systems are notoriously unsecured, and hackers often target these networks specifically because passengers let their guard down while on vacation. The cruise lines don't warn you about this because they make significant revenue from Wi-Fi packages. They want you to stay connected and purchase their internet services, not worry about digital security. The IT crew knows how vulnerable these networks are, but they're not allowed to discuss it with passengers. Your defense strategy is simple. Never access sensitive accounts like banking or credit cards while on ship Wi-Fi. Use your cellular data for important transactions when you're in port with good signal coverage. If you must use ship internet, consider downloading a VPN app before your cruise. This precaution could save you from identity theft and fraudulent charges that cost the average victim over $3,000. A couple from Texas learned this lesson the hard way when hackers accessed their bank accounts through the ship's Wi-Fi, draining their savings account during their anniversary cruise. Now, this next secret is a game changer when it comes to protecting your belongings. Security risk number 6, housekeeping access protocols. Your cabin steward has unrestricted access to your room multiple times daily, and there's minimal oversight of what happens during these visits. While most housekeeping staff are honest, the system creates opportunities for theft that passengers never consider. Cruise lines don't discuss this because they need passengers to trust their staff completely. They can't operate effectively if guests are constantly worried about housekeeping theft. The crew management knows that background checks vary significantly depending on where staff are hired from, but this information stays strictly internal. Protect yourself by never leaving cash, jewelry, or electronics visible in your cabin. Use the safe for everything valuable and take photos of your belongings at the beginning of your cruise. Create a habit of counting your cash and checking your valuables each time you return to your cabin. These simple steps can prevent losses averaging $800 to $1,500 per incident. One passenger discovered her prescription medications were being stolen gradually by housekeeping staff. She only noticed because she ran out 3 days early and had to purchase expensive replacements at the ship's medical center. But here's where things get really interesting with our next security risk. Security risk number 5, Port excursion safety gaps. When you book shore excursions through third-party vendors at ports, you're stepping outside the cruise line's insurance and security umbrella. These local tour operators often have minimal safety standards, inadequate insurance coverage, and limited accountability if something goes wrong. The cruise lines profit from selling their own excursions, but they also make money from commission deals with local operators. They won't tell you that these third-party tours carry significantly higher risks because it would hurt their port revenue streams. Even the shore excursion staff know about safety issues with certain operators, but aren't permitted to share warnings. Always research tour operators independently before booking. Check recent reviews, verify their insurance coverage, and never book tours from random vendors at the port. Stick to well-established companies with solid safety records, or book directly through the cruise line despite the higher cost. This extra diligence can save you from medical bills, legal issues, or worse. A family from Ohio booked a cheap cave exploration tour in Mexico and ended up with serious injuries when their guide took them into unstable passages. Their medical evacuation and treatment costs exceeded $25,000. Speaking of medical emergencies, our next risk is something most cruisers never think about. Security risk number 4, medical facility limitations. Cruise ship medical centers are basically urgent care facilities, not hospitals. They can't handle serious emergencies, complex surgeries, or many common medical conditions that might arise during your cruise. The staff are often general practitioners, not specialists, and equipment is limited. Cruise lines market their medical facilities as comprehensive care centers because it makes passengers feel secure about sailing. They don't want you researching what they actually cannot treat because it might discourage bookings. The medical staff know their limitations intimately, but are instructed to reassure passengers rather than explain restrictions. Purchase comprehensive travel insurance that specifically covers medical evacuations from cruise ships. Research the medical facilities at your departure port and ports of call. Bring extra prescription medications and copies of important medical records. Medical evacuations from cruise ships average between $25,000 and $100,000, depending on location and complexity. A diabetic passenger learned this lesson when she ran out of insulin during a repositioning cruise. The ship's medical center couldn't provide her specific insulin type, and they had to arrange an expensive helicopter evacuation to get her proper treatment. Now, here's something that could literally save your life. Security risk number 3, overboard detection delays. Despite all the technology on modern cruise ships, detecting when someone goes overboard still relies heavily on human observation and delayed reporting. The automated systems aren't as sophisticated as cruise lines want you to believe, and response times can be critically slow. Cruise lines don't publicize the limitations of their man-overboard detection systems because it would raise questions about passenger safety. They prefer passengers believe that advanced technology is constantly monitoring everyone. Even security personnel know that detection often depends on witness reports rather than automatic systems. Never travel alone on deck areas, especially at night or when the ship is at sea. Stay in groups during late-night activities, and always let someone know your plans when you're exploring the ship independently. Avoid leaning on railings, and never climb on or over safety barriers. These precautions could mean the difference between life and death. The Coast Guard reports that survival rates for cruise ship overboard incidents drop dramatically after just 1 hour in the water. A young man celebrating his bachelor party fell overboard during the early morning hours, and because nobody witnessed the fall, he wasn't discovered missing until the ship was over 50 miles away. But here's what really shocked me about our next security risk. Security risk number 2, emergency evacuation chaos. The mandatory muster drill you attend at the beginning of your cruise barely scratches the surface of what a real emergency evacuation would involve. Most passengers don't know their actual evacuation routes, lifeboat assignments, or emergency procedures beyond that basic drill. Cruise lines keep emergency procedures simple during muster drills because detailed information would overwhelm passengers and create anxiety about sailing. They want you focused on having fun, not worrying about emergency scenarios. The crew knows that most passengers wouldn't find their muster stations quickly in a real emergency, but they're not allowed to emphasize this during drills. After the muster drill, walk your evacuation route at least twice during your cruise. Time yourself going from your cabin to your muster station. Learn alternative routes in case primary pathways are blocked. Read the emergency information in your cabin carefully. This preparation could save precious minutes in a real emergency situation. During the Costa Concordia disaster, passengers who knew their evacuation routes and stayed calm had significantly better survival outcomes than those who panicked or couldn't find their way. And now, the #1 security risk that absolutely nobody talks about. Security risk. Number 1. Security staff limitations. Here's the truth that'll keep you up at night. Cruise ship security teams are severely understaffed and undertrained compared to land-based law enforcement. They're primarily customer service employees with basic security training, not professional security officers. They cannot detain suspects, perform thorough investigations, or handle serious crimes effectively. This is the biggest secret in the cruise industry. If passengers knew how limited security capabilities really are, it would destroy confidence in cruise safety. Cruise lines spend millions on marketing to create the impression of comprehensive security while operating with minimal actual protection. Even security staff know they're overwhelmed and under-equipped, but they're contractually forbidden from discussing their limitations. Be your own first line of security. Stay alert in crowded areas, don't flash expensive items, and trust your instincts about suspicious behavior. Report concerns immediately, but don't assume security can handle serious situations effectively. Travel in groups, especially during late-night hours. Understanding this reality can help you make better safety decisions throughout your cruise. A woman was assaulted on a cruise ship, and when she reported it to security, they told her they couldn't investigate properly and suggested she report it to authorities after disembarkation. She lost crucial evidence and testimony because she assumed ship security could handle the situation. These 8 security risks might seem overwhelming, but knowledge is power. By understanding what cruise lines don't want you to know, you can take simple precautions that dramatically improve your safety and security while cruising. If this insider information helped you prepare for a safer cruise experience, hit that subscribe button right now for more cruise secrets that can save you money, time, and potentially your safety. I release new cruise tips and tricks every week that you won't find anywhere else. Next week, I'm revealing the 5 biggest cruise line lies that cost passengers thousands of dollars every year. You won't believe what they're hiding about drink packages, specialty dining, and shore excursions. Which one of these security risks surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and let me know if you've experienced any of these situations on your cruises. Your stories help other cruisers stay safe and informed. Remember, the best cruise vacation is a safe cruise vacation. Until next time, keep cruising smart.